Okay, we're going to kick this thing off. I'd like to welcome everyone. We're really excited here at Function Point to be launching version 10 of FP on Friday, and we'd like to welcome you to our webinar today. We will be recording this, and we'll be making it available to our community help site before the end of the day. As per usual, I'm going to ask that everyone post their questions using the GoToWebinar questions module. That's just because we have too many people on the line to be able to open it up to questions. So please post your questions there. I will be responding throughout the webinar, and also Chris and I will answer some of the questions at the end if time permits. So once again, you are lucky to have some time with our president and founder, Chris Wilson. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Chris.
Hi, Tate. Thank you. I always get a kick out of you saying that, Tate. We're going to have to fix that line up. I would like to just say I'm really excited to be here this morning, and I'd like to welcome everyone. We're really pleased. It looks like today we've bumped up potentially against the maximum number of users we can have in our GoToWebinar session. So that recording, I think, Tate, will be really important for us to make sure we get up onto the community site. With our history in the past of recordings, let's hope things go well today. Welcome, as I was saying. We've got participants from across North America and the UK joining us this morning, and we're really pleased with the numbers. This is a launch preview of version 10 of Function Point. We're excited to be sharing with you the next major version of our product. The team has been really working very hard on upgrading a number of components, including the tasking and scheduling modules over the last 6 months since our last upgrade. A number of important changes have occurred, and we're going to be sharing them with you today. The most exciting, as I was saying, is a new technique really for building estimates and then opening jobs based on a schedule of planned tasks. So what we've really done is we've removed the timeline from the estimate system, or the estimate section of the system, and created a new module called Schedules. This module presents the user with a unique 3-step approach to working with schedules and, of course, the related tasks. Let me just briefly explain. Once a schedule is created, the first step of outlining the tasks really allows you to rapidly develop the actions needed to complete the work you're working on. The second step, planning, builds on the first step with the addition of fields needed to really build out the services and the hours that are needed to properly price the work. And the manage, or the third step, sets up schedules with start and end dates along with milestone allocations. We've also revamped the schedule copy and template creation processes, making it both faster to use to finish a job, making it faster to use a finished job, something that you've completed in the past, or a template that you've created to start a new schedule and open a fully planned, well-priced job, really with just a few clicks. This is really an exciting new workflow. We believe, once again, it will simplify the use of Function Point, allowing you to maximize and get more out of the ability to utilize your teams through proper planning. In addition to this, there are some other important changes, and I'll be talking about those. Basically, we have revamped the main navigation once again. We've brought to the main navigation both schedules and note modules into their own searchable areas. You're familiar with the find and the view and the add aspects. I'll show that. Also, we've revamped the brief section with you being able to add multiple briefs to one particular job. And we've extended this to the project level. So now, again, when you bring in a project where you know there's going to be multiple tactical deliverable items, you can build one brief that's an overarching brief for those items. We've also added a new capability where you can put a URL or a web link onto any particular job or project. This really it allows you to just put links into many of the new tools we're using, whether it's a Google Doc, files that you may save inside Dropbox, or perhaps to reference to websites that you are wanting to refer to in your work. And to carry things just yet a step forward, we've enhanced the usability of tasks. Tasks, of course, are directly related to schedules, so we've made it easier to change the status and to make items easily removable from your active list. It's turned it to a one-step process rather than now where you've been selecting to complete and confirm the specific tasks. The other little addition there is that we've added a percentage complete field. So more on this as we move forward on some new reporting items that we're working on for the health of the jobs that you have on the go. As usual, Tate's monitoring today's webinar. There are many people participating today. It is indeed the largest turnout we've had. I'm thrilled, and thank you so much. Do post your questions. Tate will answer some as we go. Of course, we are recording the webinar, and we'll be posting it on our community help later today. And I chuckle a little bit because I know I've had to redo some of our webinars because our recording has not worked well. I'd like to mention also our LinkedIn group. The LinkedIn group that Leo has been driving is starting to get some great traction. I think we're approaching 300 people that are part of it. We've got some outside individuals starting to post some great information. I'm really, really pleased with how that's coming along. Check it out. So today our webinar, I like to try and do them in 45 to 50 minutes. We'll see how today's goes. There is a fair bit to cover. So let me now just move this Word document out of the way and get our sample piece into place.
So Chris, before you start going there, we've had a few people saying that you're fading in and out when you're speaking. So if you can maybe try and turn your volume up and make sure that your microphone is, I guess, as close to your mouth as possible. That would be good.
I did. Fair enough. I used the phone lines today to call in rather than using the VoIP system, so I've typically found it to be fairly reliable. I'll try and speak up. Perhaps I'm using my voice intonations a little much. So good.
Thanks.
I'm going to go through sort of a reverse order. I'd like to show everyone the general items that we've done before really going into the main scheduling task enhancement pieces. So I'm going to start by going through and showing the changes to the navigation, the URL linking, and the brief pieces. I'll then quickly review the tasks and then jump in on the schedules and the timeline routine. And I'm going to walk us through actually creating a schedule from a template, turning that into an estimate and open job. So some great stuff to show off. As I said earlier, we have brought a renavigation of the main navigation into the tool. We've done that by bringing the notes section and this new schedule section as unique modules that you can now find, view items that you've been on, as well as add new items to it. And in addition, we have changed the order in which these items show. So notice, of course, in the past that notes were always a component of really writing a note to a contact. So we've dropped those in after contacts. And this really kind of completes the CRM component that we have in Function Point with companies, contacts, and the notes that you track with those. We've added the schedules, as I mentioned, but we brought briefs forward because a lot of our clients are using briefs as intake forms. And so it really can be a first step. And if you're using, of course, Function Point Portal, it is a way to actually extend this out to your clients. So we've dropped briefs in next. Planning of works is the new piece through schedules. That creates a number of tasks. And of course, then we have the umbrella over the kind of project management components for projects, estimates, and jobs. And those sections haven't really changed. Of course, following that up are the financial pieces for expenses, timesheets, and getting invoices out to your clients. It's a really nice little revision that we've done on these pieces. We've adjusted it as well to facilitate for smaller screens. And that smaller screen, so if you're on any of the new MacBook Airs, etc., these items should adjust well for you and properly sized to some of those pieces. I'm quite excited. I'm going to be working with a MacBook Air for the next couple of weeks while I'm on holiday, so thank my daughter for that. So that's really the primary change that we have done to the navigation. I'd like to now drive in. I'm going to pick job number 158, and I'm going to drive into its detail page to talk a little bit around the URL and the web link that we've added to this piece. Before I mention that, though, I'm going to just point out that The icons on all of the detail pages have also been reorganized, and this really does help in making things just a little bit more intuitive. You'll notice that the order of these add actions now follow the order of all of the items in the main menu. And you'll see us standardizing some of these items on both find screens, list views, etc. as we move through this fall. More items to just make the system a little more intuitive. So adding links. The link component allows us to do just that. It allows us to put in a link to particular activities that we may want to refer to on the job. Of course, I've put in functionpoint.com. I've also put in a link to ConceptShare. This was one of the founding reasons for doing this. For some of our clients that are working with FP Collaborate, we're moving this more to the ConceptShare site. And the upgrade will allow us to ultimately move your system into the new version of ConceptShare's product. But let me show you how this works. You come in, select to add a link, and basically choose what the source is. Where am I going for this item? Is it ConceptShare? Is it a website, a Google Doc, perhaps a Dropbox item? I'm going to just select a website, and I'm going to put in one of my favorite sites, apple.com, and just what can we buy next? Seems we're always buying something from the Apple Store around the office, and submit that item. And of course, it will fundamentally drop it into this links tab, and upon the selection of that item, it will pull up that particular web link. So just very straightforward. It's quite useful in that it does allow you to build these links. It will allow us to build future integrations with other tools that can be tied into the jobs. And I'm really pleased to also mention that the links component has been added to the project level of the tool. On to the briefs. Notice as well that briefs are already in a dark form. Usually the tabs only show when there is an item or more associated with it. In our old version of the system, the brief form would show and you would see all of the questions and such that were associated with it. But we were getting many requests for people to be able to put multiple forms that they created that are standardized pieces of information against any one job. And it wasn't as challenging a process as we thought, so we expedited it. And you can see now how there's an opportunity for you to add multiple briefs of different types into any one job. So I think of a scenario, you have a client that creates a request of you. That would show here. Then you go in and build out more of a brief that's associated with the work that needs to be done. That would be a second one. And perhaps you're doing some printing, so you've built out a specification for the printing components that you've standardized, and that could be a third piece that would fit here. We see all sorts of other uses for forms that people track to manage their specific business requirements, and it'll be great to, of course, see this grow and change as we move forward. I'd just like to point out how both of these activities are available at the project. So this job, I did link to a project detail page, and of course, from the breadcrumb, I can navigate to that job project detail. Some of you, of course, called these modules different terms, but I would expect you to understand our base versions. Here, you'll see that the project detail, again, shows the briefs first. It shows then any schedules that have been done for these projects, as well as the links field that I had been speaking to. And when you're working on a project, of course, similarly to other areas, you can add the brief and you can add the link right from the detail page. So some nice little pieces to just help keep that moving along. I'm going to navigate now back and touch on the changes that we've done to tasks. The task section is, of course, so important with regards to us trying to simplify it and make it easier for our users to really touch and to interact with. And we've been receiving quite a few tidbits of feedback saying having to select a task multiple times to get it off my dashboard makes the system really difficult to work with. So of course here on the dashboard you can see I have a series of tasks that have been assigned to me, and of course this clearly shows the two changes that we've made. We've added this percentage complete field, which allows a user to come in and basically provide some feedback to their managers or to the people that are viewing the project progress with how far along they are on doing this work. So we've made it a drop-down menu. We've put in the 10% increments. We'll wait for some feedback from you on whether you need more than this. But it's very straightforward to come in and simply change that item. And of course, through Ajax, we're updating that information right away. Now, it was also the status field that was really where we were getting the most feedback. To change it from assigned to in progress to completed to confirmed is often something in a fast-paced studio, one step. It's gone from being told about needing to do this to being confirmed and done without ever necessarily making the in progress status. So now you can do that. You can move it from any of the items through to confirmed. And I just want to let you know that we've added a new one called draft. And the draft removes the item from the viewer's open tasks and the broader task list, and keeps it generally just available on the schedule. And I'll touch on that as we go through the schedule itself. So now I can come in, simply change that to confirmed, and I can update a comment should I wish to, or pass it on to someone else, and then that item will remove automatically from my list. So again, a nice little change, really removing some frustration that we too were experiencing internally with regards to our interaction with tasks. Good, good. So that covers off the little items that that we have added to the system. There's been a series of other pieces that you can well imagine that are really associated with speeding the whole product up, trying to make things just more standardized in their positioning, such as the icons that we've done, and I think you'll really appreciate the changes without really experiencing a need to reteach yourself how to work with the product. Excellent. Tate, were there any questions on that section that we might try to answer at this point, or should I just keep moving on?
I've been answering the questions as we've been going. I think most people seem to be antsy to get you to create a job from a schedule. So
we're keeping everyone in suspense on how to do this. Yeah,
got a few people asking. Okay.
When's this guy going to get started? Great.
We want to see a whole job. All right.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Well, let's jump right in. The schedules is the change that we've done, and I'm just going to quickly run through. You can see that all of the schedule in this new module is really set up to follow the standardized pages and such that we work with in the tool. So from finding a schedule to doing a search out on any of the items, the list views, the sort capabilities are here, and selecting to drill into a schedule detail. So the same 3 standard pages that you're used to throughout the product are available to you in this module. And I'll come back and I'll explain a little more, but you could see our positioning of icons and the items that are available, as well as just the lower pieces, and I'll explain a little more on the detail that is on this page. But what I wanted to start out with was just showing to you how you can come in now and actually search for any template that you've built in the system right here in the front end of the tool. Previously, you had to go through the admin section to see the templates that you'd created. Now you can come in, find them quickly, navigate into those template items, and ultimately adjust these such that they suit a template that you want to work on your next round through the process. It's a really nice improvement. It makes it much easier to save a previously done item and to quickly refer to it when you need to. Let's jump into the meat. So I'm going to come in and I'm just going to select to add a new schedule. And I'm going to choose to build it from one of the templates that I've been working with in the system, this new website template. It's a kind of a starting ground for a full timeline. I didn't build it out completely, but I'm going to also just show this auto-populate fields, which ultimately allows you to bring over both the name, the descriptions, as well as all of the task schedule items onto this particular schedule. And then I can come in and choose to go from one of the, I can choose from any of my companies that are in Function Point accordingly. If this is part of a project, I can bring that in, and I can also select from my staff people or from your list of staff people in the firm to who is managing this particular schedule. And this is different than the account executive that we use on the estimate. So Hill website adjusts the for demo. I got that right. I didn't use tour. And fundamentally, I'm going to just come in and submit this. So what this does is it loads us in to that schedule detail page that I was showing to you earlier. And I just want to set up a bit of a scenario. What I want to do is show you these pages and really show you and explain the outline, plan, manage, and full options that you see over here on the far side. I want us to think about sort of an account exec coming in here, selecting a template for a repeatable job that you do for a client, and then opening that job, and ultimately the traffic manager then coming back and assigning and moving tasks from this schedule to individuals and getting them visible to them on their dashboards. While doing this, I'm going to show you a number of shortcuts and techniques for working with the schedules and that side of things. So there's some keyboard shortcuts that we've put in, and I'd like to make sure that we do see those. Good. So with me on the detail page, I just want to point out how the schedule brings in a number of start and end date related activities. We've got these fields at the top. It shows us who is the manager. It tells us a quick overview of hours, actual hours spent, and variances. So as the schedule starts to get completed, the percentage done, and how many tasks are associated with this specific item. I want to just pull over now and take a look at sort of the pieces, these icons that we have just above. Trevor, one of our senior engineers, has really been the key driver of the build that we've done, and he came up with this unique way of allowing us to see just a very sort of high-level task name component associated with these items, as well as looking at them to see not only the task name, but the description that are associated with each of the activities or tasks. And we really see this as a great way, and I'll show you in a moment how we've actually turned those two fields into one for data entry as well. We'll be having some new printouts for clients and for printing the schedule details. Stay tuned for more on that as we move through the summer. There's some new print technology we're working on. And then, of course, we have the outline, plan, and manage components. Let me go through and just select the outline. The outline takes us into this first page that really sets up the ability to come in and to quickly add new tasks into your schedule. These tasks can then get names, and by selecting the return, you can put in full descriptions. So in the past, of course, you had to tab between different fields to get that information in. This now allows you to quickly work right in the same field. Through the work that I've been doing on it recently, it's been exceptionally quick to work with and to adjust. Really, really nice to work with. Of course, the drop-down menus for who you might wish to assign this to remain the same. You can pick here the senior designers or the individuals should you wish. And of course, our month component allows you to pick out and select the dates that you'd like to see things put into. There's some other great features, such as a little quick add task item that can sit into the center of things. And when you use your shift and return key, you can build multiple tasks very, very quickly. And if you find you've put in a couple too many, just simply use your delete, shift delete, and it pulls the items out. One of the other pieces that Trevor has built in for ease of navigation is also the use of the arrow icons on your keyboard for navigating through the different pieces of the system. You can see as I navigate about how it's taking us through the different sections of the tool, and it really does do a great job at just keeping you on your keyboard for filling out this information. Good. I wanted to just cover that off in that section. I wanted to point out one other thing. While I've been working through these adjustments, the plan, manage, and full components, or the other pages that are available to you, become grayed out. And this is a state control that is designed around the fact that you've made changes to the current item and that you need to save those items before you can move to those next steps. So now I did the save, plan, and manage become available to me, and I just want to drive through to the plan to show you how the layouts get progressively more detailed. I threw in this task at the bottom, and oh, by the way, I wanted to make it part of this particular activity. So I want to just grab it and I want to move it in. Notice how we've created a nice little intuitive indicator that allows you to tell how far in you're moving the particular task in the tree that it's part of. Here on the manage, or excuse me, on the plan and manage, we're going to be, you'll see a name adjustment to this. You can select the phase and service that this particular piece is part of. And the intention for this, again, is around allowing you to get to a point where with the phase and service and the number of hours that you add, you can ultimately price this particular piece of work. I'll put in here 07/31 for the date that I see it starting. And notice again, highlighting of dates, times, etc. Oh, that went 8/31, forgive me, 7/31. And when you do make mistakes, such as put a start date that is larger than the due date, it does warn you with the reddish color telling you that that's not congruent with what you need to do. So some nice little pieces there. I'll move that back. I'm going to save and continue, really just trying to point out how that little piece around navigation, adding your phases, putting in your time works with you. But I want to point out our batch edit capabilities as well. So what we've done, and this is the start of further enhancements this way, is we've built a process where you can adjust dates across items that you select within the body of your schedule very, very easily and succinctly. I'll use this date field as an example, adjusting them to be August 9th and just selecting August 9th. Notice it updates everything. I can save and continue. Good. Good. The bottom, cancel, save and continue, save and finish. Really just driving you through to where you can now get to the detail page within the tool and look at moving towards adding your estimate. All right. The add estimate steps. If the system, if you've gone through the system and built out tasks and you don't have phases and services or allocations of individuals, it won't actually allow you to create the estimate. When you have those elements in place, of course, you have what's needed for building out the estimate, and it will permit you to do so. It drops us to this first page where really all we need to do is fundamentally come in and choose from our list of job types. The account executive is required on an estimate, so we also need to drop that in. And then you're really in a position where you have options which, depending on how you price your products in your office, whether you have a blended rate where everyone is working at the same rates, or if you have rates where individuals have different unique rates, you can make changes to the activities here that will really help bring that forward to your users or to your pricing document. By aggregating, it puts all of the hours against the service instead of individual staff or roles. When you remove the aggregation, it will build line items directly on your estimate that relate to the individual staff, and it would put their staff rates into place. So that's a really important piece of things. And then, of course, it's also set up to say use the hours from this task on the estimate. I'm going to leave that turned on. This will be displayed also under the second section. You can see here under web design and under wireframe development, we have those elements pre-selected for us. And that will set up our estimate with appropriate build-outs. Let me select the submit item. And what we've done that is part of a a bit of a first step to some things you'll see in the future, is we have set up that when you create this estimate from that timeline, or that schedule, excuse me, not only does it come through and build out all of the hours, and if you're working with costs in our system, then it'll show you all of the costs and the rates and the total value of the work that you're doing, but it also opened up the job. So it built the system, it took the schedule, it created the estimate, and it drove right through to building out the particular job for us. Now, and I can of course tell that because it says job details here rather than create job, which is the state controlled item that you normally see here. Driving through, I can see the financial page and the information that's part of it. And of course, I can drill back and see the schedule and the fact that the schedule detail is available to us. That kind of completes the first part of what I really wanted to point to and talk to. I've come in and I've created from a template a schedule. And then I've made some small adjustments to it because I needed to change a few things. And then I've quickly came through and opened a job. Literally, if you have templates that are for repeatable work, it can be done in under a handful of clicks. And now, with the job being open, our people such as our trafficking or our production managers can come in and right from the job detail page for that item, they can drill in and work with the outline, plan, and manage aspects of this particular piece of work. So if I go to the plan component, I want to talk a little towards the status. It's really important that as you're planning work and as you're building out these schedules, that you're not sending off notifications to staff that you are building tasks for them. And so hence, the ability for us to come in and use the open batch edit on a new task status called draft allows us to work and manipulate and change all of these items without ever actually influencing that staff person's work. You can come in now and, as I said earlier, select a number of items or work with items individually and choose to assign these tasks in a more sort of phase-related set of steps. And if you do wish to do them all, of course you can through the top icon. But this again allows you to release work in a fashion that's really quite congruent with getting through the first step of it. If I select save and continue, any particular person, if it was assigned, would now get emails. Of course, you can come through and do the same with regards to batch edit on individuals. So let me just show that once again. I select those first areas, and I'm going to say assign this to Alon. It updates Alon, and I can select save, and that drops those tasks now onto Alon's dashboard. Good, good. It's been great. Actually, got through this about 8 minutes quicker than I had expected I would. The whole process of utilizing your team members is really one of the most profitable ways of improving your operation. We've been really trying to listen to what you're hearing from, what we're hearing, excuse me, from yourselves, and in turn coming through to really revise this whole aspect of our system so that you can get the most out of utilizing your team members. Hiring people to deal with more work is simply not the option that it once was, with all the pressures on us to reduce costs. So this outline, plan, and manage of your team and the time they spend on creating for your clients is absolutely more and more important. With this new process and this new workflow of coming through, building out schedules, and ultimately creating new open jobs very, very quickly and easily, should really help to impact your bottom line in a tremendous way. So we look forward to hearing your feedback. We sincerely hope that you will provide it to us. It is very, very important. Very, very important. And I just want to announce that the upgrade will be this Friday night, starting at 5 p.m. Pacific time. So probably somewhere between 8 and 9 o'clock Pacific. The system will be back up and running, and any timelines and such will have been changed into schedules into the new system. In closing, again, I want to thank you for helping us and giving us the feedback. Your guidance is very important to us. We consider it really a very valuable asset for our company. I also really need to thank our team. The whole group has put in a considerable, I can say thousands of hours into the changes that we've made. In particular, Trevor Crowley, one of our Function Point senior engineers, I really want to thank him for his high level of professionalism in completing the project. It's been really, really great work. So that's all I really wanted to say. Tate, how do we look with regards to some questions and taking people through some Q&A?
So I've been plowing through answering a number of questions. I think I still have about 10 or 15 to go. So thank you everyone for your questions. They've all been fairly pointed in terms of things that you've been covering throughout the webinar. What I am going to do is I'm going to launch a quick poll just to see how people rate today's webinar. I am going to be going through and answering all of the questions that are still outstanding. I'll stay on the line as long as it takes. So if you have any other questions, please put those through. Chris, the one thing that I will ask you to maybe to spend a little bit of time on is just showing the outline, manage full, and batch edit things. Just showing some of the different things that people can expect to see on there. But I'm going to launch this poll first, and then I'll maybe get you to spend 2 minutes on that as I'm answering some questions.
Excellent. Yeah, sounds good. Be happy to.
Okay, so we've got most of the polls in. I'll leave it open for about 10 more seconds for those of you that are still trying to think about it. Okay, so I'd like to thank everyone that voted on the poll. So Chris, if you can just spend a little bit of time just sort of showing some of the things that you can do within the edit screens, that would be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to. Let me do that by just coming in and actually adding a new one. I'm going to just select to add, and I'm going to put in here new test schedule, and of course full descriptions can be added. And keep in mind that these descriptions will fall to the estimate, they'll fall to the job detail page, and ultimately onto your invoice. So when they're filled in well and put in well, they don't necessarily need to be repeated. I'll pick my favorite, Burrard Street Golf, as my sample, and I'm going to just select myself as the manager. Quickly submit that. It drops us into the schedule detail as we've been seeing before, but it does not show to us, of course, any particular components to it. So at this point, I'll just select the outline. So let's imagine us building the initial outline for some work. You can select to add a task right from the particular navigational icon, Add Task. Or action icon, Add Task. But you can also use your Shift key and Return to build multiples of these items. So it allows you to quickly set things up and then come back in and really work through laying things out accordingly. So why don't I put in here, thinking about a phase that we need to do some research on competitive products. And in doing so, I put in the title for the particular phase. And if I select the return key, it drops me now into the description that's going to be part of this. Let's do a review and provide this background to our proposal. And of course, at this point, we now have the title and such in place. If I want to add an item directly below this, I can just simply select the plus icon on that task. And then here, I might move it in as a particular way of showing that this is going to be part of a few individual items that we need to complete that are part of research competitive products. Of course, I'll just use the spell checkers that are coming out in the browsers now to fix my spelling mistake. And you could put in item 1 to complete, come along and add a second item, item 2 to complete, and of course work through accordingly. Now these items will allow you to pick who you might want to work on it. Perhaps it's support services that are going to work on these 2 items, and there we go, excuse me, and that these items will be due on a particular date at some point in the future. Here, let me just quickly open the batch edit, and I'll pick these 2 items and come in and say I'd like them due next Friday. So it allows to drop them into place, and ultimately we can save and continue these pieces. Again, the plan, manage are not selectable for us, so I'll save that. And we do have all of the appropriate warnings in place for moving through things such that that you're not doing activities that you shouldn't. I'm going to delete that. I'll come down to the lowest one, and you can delete them using the X over on the far side, or as I had stated, you can also use the Shift Delete key for adding and removing. I want to get to the plan page to show you some of the differences. Notice here on outline it's got 2, due date, status, and priority. When I move to the plan page, we up the ante a little on this. The primary items that we add here allow you to ultimately build out the estimate. So notice that there is no phase in service and there are no estimated hours. So on the plan section, you can do just that. You can come in and choose that you're doing research and planning, and work accordingly on then also getting in the number of hours that someone might do. Let's say 4 hours, and of course we all know that nothing takes just 4 hours, but good little samples. Now at this point, at the top, if we were actually trying to build things through, we wouldn't get the actual ability to create the estimate until the phase and service pieces have been put into place. So the phase, the hours, the phase and service, the hours are part of this plan page as well as any start dates. And under the manage piece, we can now just see that we've added to that the milestone capability for working with your production reports and such. I want to be perfectly candid. The outline, plan, manage, and the full screen are some items that we're looking to do some last minute changes to, where we'd like to combine the plan and manage onto one, and ultimately then the full screen would be available for power users that are working with smaller schedules themselves. So that's a bit of an overview. Notice here on the full screen we've got everything that's going on. We've got the title and description, we have the phase and service, we have who created this particular task, who they want to send it to. Let's say I'm now actually going to assign these to Mark. The start, the number of hours, the estimated hours, the start time, the due time. We have the percentage complete, as well as the status with regards to that item. And I should just put in here that the percentage complete cannot really be used or worked until such time that the task itself is assigned to the individual. So of course I can choose it here, but I could not choose it down below because we need to make it assigned before it becomes usable. Really just trying to do state controls on all of the activities that we're introducing to make the system more intuitive and easier for you to work with. So haven't created the job yet, so I'll just keep that and I'll just actually cancel these particular changes accordingly. So that's one other little piece that I'd like to actually point out. And I'm going to go back into the outline mode. We've been searching for a way to provide you, the user, with more information about how to interact with the tool. And we have come up with this little question mark that may sit immediately embedded into the tool in sections, allowing us to give to you some instructions right on the fly that are related to where you are. So in this case, we see the Open Batch Edit, and you can see that this talks towards the task row batch edit instructions. And for those of you that are on larger screens, you can actually roll this up and put it out of the way while you interact with the tool itself. So down below, I could come in and use Shift Return. Let me just check this out. I believe I can, use Shift Return and be adding activities while my instructions remain active and in front of me. So we think we've come across something that we're looking for some feedback on that would ultimately allow us to roll this type of an assistance to users that are just learning the system into broader sections of the product itself. This also exists not only in the Open Batch Edit widget, which is one of a few widgets that you're going to see starting to appear on this particular screen, but it's also available to us. Let me just save and continue. It's also available to us for the task tree editing options help, talking towards the specific pages, the outline, plan, manage in full. What do you think, Tate? Do you think I covered it?
I think so. I've been madly typing in answers to all of the questions that have been coming in. So what I think we'll do is we'll close the webinar component off as of now. I will ask that you keep on sending me any questions. I will be posting all of the questions that have been coming through as a Q&A with the recording by the end of today. Also, as this gets launched out into your systems, we are going to be asking for your feedback. What we're doing is we're launching all of the major components in the backend code that that needs to be done on Friday. Everything that's been fully tested. There are some other smaller components that we're going to be rolling out over the coming weeks. So a lot of time, and some of the things that we're going to be looking for is feedback from our users in terms of things like which fields lie where in the outline, plan and manage in full. Just little things that that we hear from our users as you start using the system. So please provide the feedback. I'll be posting some stuff on either Friday of this week or Monday of next week that that will have more information on the rollout, as well as where to send some pointed feedback when you start using the system. So again, I'd like to thank everybody very much for taking part in the webinar today, and we look forward to your feedback.
Thank you, everyone. And just a last comment to thanking you for your business and for working with us. We very much appreciate it, and we do very much recognize that you have options. So thank you for joining us today.
And so just so everyone knows, I still have about 15 or 20 questions to get through. So if you stay online, you will get those questions over the next 10 to 15 minutes. Otherwise, they'll be posted later today. So again, thank you very much.